Hello, welcome to the James Cooley Show. It's your life, and I tell you, I am so excited about the show today. First of all, I miss my great friend, Dr. Michael Mantell. I think he's been on vacation for about the last 2, 3, 4 weeks. I just been on vacation. I hope he really enjoyed himself. And we also got Sandy Abrams. Wow, this is going to be an absolutely fantastic guest show because of these two great guests. And what we're going to talk about today is the lifespan or the life space, lifespan, the space of healthcare professionals and some of the things that they encounter in making sure that they take care of us. And sometimes they have to kind of take care of themselves because we need them around. we certainly need them around. And so I'm excited about the show today. But I can't even start to do anything without introducing my absolutely fantastic, wonderful executive producer and co-host, Dr. Michelle Denise Cooley. How are you doing today, Doc?
I'm doing great, James. I am. This has been this has been a busy week, but we're going on vacation Sunday, so have something to look forward to as far as rest and relaxation. So I'm pretty excited. And this is a great topic, the life space of healthcare professionals, because I have a lot of medical doctors in my family. And, it's a beautiful profession, but it requires work. And sometimes they have to remember to take care of themselves. And issues like burnout can occur, but we're going to let our amazing guests today talk about it and talk about the things that can be done to resolve this so that only they give themselves self-care, but also care to their patients as well.
Wow. And I'm so excited about this because we as patients, we don't understand what goes into a lot of the things that I'm talking about, the education, the teaching, staying abreast in order to make this happen. So, Michelle, I'm ready to get this show started. Can you please introduce the title of the show, the purpose of the show, and introduce these two absolutely fantastic guests?
Yes, I will. So the title of the show, of course, is The Lifespace of Healthcare Professionals. So we're having a conversation with cognitive behavioral coach, keynote speaker, author, and advisor, Dr. Michael Mantell, as well as entrepreneur, mindfulness advocate, speaker, and author, Sandy Abrams. We're going to talk about what is Lifespace and why pervasive and persistent burnout is experienced by more than half of physicians and what is behind this, and to talk about the medical system. Is there anything wrong with its medical system today because of these burnout issues? And why investing in their own well-being as a physician is crucial, not only for the medical professional, but also for the quality of care that they do provide their patients, and how positive psychology, coaching, mindfulness, body breath X practices, community building, and Wealthcare are some of the tools recognized to be a benefit. So let's talk about our returning guest, Dr. Michael Mantell. He reminded me it's been a year anniversary since he's been on the show, E360 TV, but we love having him. So again, he has nearly 50 years of helping people of all ages and backgrounds disturb themselves less and create lasting positive change with his compassion-based, rational, emotive behavior coaching methods. He earned his PhD at the University of Pennsylvania after completing his MS degree in clinical psychology in Hahnemann Medical College. He's a member of the Science Advisory Council of the International Council on Active Aging, a longtime member of SAG-AFTRA since 1981, through which he has brought psychology to the public for decades in broadcast and print media, including Good Morning America, Oprah, and many more. Let's talk about Sandy Abrams. She's a longtime entrepreneur and a two-time author, now focused on workplace wellness, sharing 30 plus years of experience utilizing the power of breath and mindfulness in business and life. Her book, Breathe to Succeed, is endorsed by Ariana Huffington, Mark Bettolini, former CEO of Aetna, now chairman at CVS Health. Sandy's business sensibility about breath as meditation at the speed of life resonates with the fast pace of modern life. She's on a mission to empower people to create their optimal energy for both wellness and success, one deep, mindful breath at a time. So please welcome back to the show, Dr. Michael Mantell and Sandy Abrams. Thanks for having me.
Wow, what an introduction.
Yeah.
It's an absolute pleasure having both of you guys on because, Sandy, I think I was watching a couple of months ago a couple of your TED Talk videos, I think when you was on last time, and this excitement that you brought to the stage, you probably thought I had forgotten, but I haven't. It was just so wonderful to have you there and have you back. Dr. Mantell, you already know. I mean, every chance we get a chance to get you on the show because both of you guys bring so much expertise in what you do, and I'm talking about it's so helpful to our listeners and our viewers. So first of all, let me put this plug in. Wherever you're watching the show at, whether you're watching E360 TV, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, over 25 other live streaming platforms. If you want to be part of this, all you have to do is go to the comments. Ask these two absolutely fantastic people any question you like, and I promise you that we will get you an answer. So I want to start off with you first, Sandy. Can you tell our viewers and listeners a little bit more about you that maybe did not catch you last time you was on?
Sure. Thanks again for having me. It's always a pleasure to talk with you, James, and also with Dr. Mantell, because I don't know, he's been doing his practice so long that every conversation with Michael always feels therapeutic. So my background, I'm a longtime entrepreneur, but even before that, I started doing yoga, and the practice of yoga changed my life because I was not wired to be still. And I was sort of that fast-paced type A entrepreneur type of person. And yoga and breath work taught me to better understand my mind and my nervous system and to take agency of how I felt throughout the day. My TEDx talk from last year that you just mentioned, is titled How You Breathe is How You Are. And that's really my mission these days, is to help empower people to see that we have more control than most of us think that we have in creating our optimal mindset and energy. Dr. Mantell talks about the link is what you think. And I love that, because obviously the power of our thoughts is super powerful in our lives. And I always add to that, like a little comma, the link is what you think. And that's where breath work comes in, because breath, sometimes Dr. Andrew Huberman says it's hard to change your mind with your mind. And that's where breath work comes in. Sometimes it's easier to change your mind and your thoughts with breath. It can be used as a catalyst to help that link, to help the way that you think. And that's where Michael and I meet at this intersection of mind-body connection, and helping to empower people to just go within and find their best thoughts through using breath as a catalyst.
Wow. That's a great intro. Dr. Mantell, can you just remind, and they see you on almost every week, but can you remind our listeners, in case that they might have missed the shows that you've been on?
Well, the list of the shows I've been on, is that what you just said?
No, just tell them a little bit about you, just in case.
Well, I think that Michelle sums it up so nicely, that I like to help people disturb themselves less. I like to teach people, and that's what it is, it's psychological education, how to think, how to live, how to use the tools that Sandy brings to help them disturb themselves less. I just got finished with a session with someone who's going through a very grisly, ugly divorce. Hopefully it won't make the newspapers, but I have a feeling based on who she is, it will. And she is just miserable. I said, look, the divorce is over there. You're over here. What you think about the divorce can make your response to the divorce that much worse. And when it comes to the physicians that Sandy and I and Vu, who was supposed to be with us, but unfortunately was unable to, when it comes to physicians today, the pain that they feel, the burnout, the depression, the anxiety, the thousands leaving the field, we need to teach them how to deal with this oppressive system that they're living in, how to live better, and not because they're at fault and they have all the responsibility, but life presents difficulties. Our job is to learn how to sing in the lifeboat, as Voltaire puts it. And so here we are. By the way, today is National Doctor Day. And it's very cool that here we are talking about doctors. Healthcare is more complex today than ever.
Wow.
We believe that when physicians became providers, instead of the healers and the physicians that they were now providers, that's when it began to go downhill. And so February 1991, President George H.W. Bush, he proclaimed this day to be National Doctor Day. It started actually in Georgia, Winder, Georgia, 1933. People got together in a little community and started sending out little cards to the doctors to say, we love you, thank you. And then that was in 1933. And here we are today in 2023, recognizing more than ever, doctors need our care. Call your doctor today and say, I just want to say thank you. Just say thank you, because doctors need it.
Wow.
I can ramble, but that's enough.
Well, I know the Lifespace of healthcare professionals. Two questions, part A and B. Why is this particular topic important to discuss, and what exactly is Lifespace? Question for both.
Go ahead, Michael.
Okay, so Sandy and I and Dr. Tran, Vu Tran, have been presenting at the American Society of Hematology. I've been presenting for 4 years. This year should be my fifth. Sandy's been on for 2 or 3 years. And this past year, the three of us were having lunch one day, and we realized we have incredible chemistry. We are like a tripod. And we thought we got to bring this to more doctors around the world. And so we've been meeting and doing some presentations and so forth. And we said, you know what, let's formalize this. And we came up with the name, the Lifespace Group. The Lifespace is different than workplace or personal life, home, work, because we think it's all one. Just like the mind and the body are not separate, they're one. When we talk to physicians and healthcare professionals, we're talking about their life, their well-being. So we got together and created this program called the Lifespace Group that's designed to help physicians navigate the challenges and stressors in the profession today. The nearly 1 million doctors or so that are out there, almost 70% are saying they're burning out and they need help. So that's what Lifespace Group is designed for, to help teach physicians and healthcare systems how to have a greater sense of balance and fulfillment in life, in their life space.
Wow. That's absolutely fantastic, Sandy. We're going to get back with you shortly, but we got to take a station break right now. But when we get back, we're going to get Sandy to chime in. And also, we're going to dive deeper and deeper into this great topic that we have today. If you want to be part of the conversation, go to the comments wherever you're watching that. Ask any question. It's your life. We'll be back shortly after.
I never wanna leave. Yeah, I'm right where I wanna be. We got something you and me, and I can't get rid of this feeling. Just like a magnet, we're just like a magnet. The things we have can't be taken for granted. Now I know that it has always been you. I can't help it, I'm so drawn to you. Just like a magnet, we're just like a magnet. The things we have can't be taken for granted. Now I know that it has always been you. I can't help it, I'm so drawn to you. Hey. I'm so drawn to you. I'm so drawn to you. Yeah, yeah.
Noah Dingley here, producer of The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life. And the new audio version of James' book, Country Boy, City Boy, A Journey That Ain't Over Yet, is a must-have. James shares his true life story of struggle and success in America. It's both a cautionary tale and a roadmap to achieving the American dream. Get the new audio version of Country Boy, City Boy, A Journey That Ain't Over Yet by James Cooley on Amazon.com or wherever audiobooks.
Hello, welcome back to the James Cooley Show. It's Your Life, and I tell you, just a great topic that we're talking about today. It's so important that I think everybody need to be aware of it, and I think that we need to understand what patient burnout might be, and just continue to understand that the physicians, they have to work together with themselves to make sure that they are still stand up to breast like they want to take care of us. And I know that Michelle had asked a question prior to the break, and Dr. Mantell, you gave a magnificent answer. Michelle, can you repeat that answer? And let's get Sandy input on that, the question. And I
Sure.
think
So basically, the question was, what is Lifespace? And Dr. Mantell was discussing how it all came about. And Sandy, I just wanted to know if you had any additional comments on how the Lifespace group, how it came together and what is the role of it.
Sure. It happened serendipitously. And we just, as Michael was saying, the three of us realized that we each have such unique perspective. Dr. Mantell has been practicing with physicians for decades. Vu is currently an ER doctor in Canada. And I have been mostly coaching within the corporate sector for breath and mindfulness to help people create mindset and energy, and also with stress management, especially during pandemic. No matter what industry or career you're in, everybody lived in this same energy of feeling overwhelmed with uncertainty and fear. And so breath and mindset tools became relevant to everyone. But of course, physicians and caregivers, first responders were at the head of everything. And so I started just following a lot of content online on LinkedIn and different places. And that's where I connected with Dr. Mantell. I think I said, like, how can I help? And we ended up speaking together at the Ending Global Physician Burnout Conference, got to know each other and realized how well our mind-body philosophies worked alongside each other. And so what we do with Lifespace Group is we will counsel and coach. It could be anything from a physician to a hospital team to somebody that has their own medical practice with a team, or anything within the caregiving space. And we try to offer tools and therapeutic tools, mind-body tools that help people take agency over being more self-aware of how stress is affecting the decisions that they're making. And decisions in the medical industry are life and death decisions. So we need to make sure that physicians are feeling good when they are working, that they're feeling calm yet alert and focused. And Dr. Tran keeps us on track because he is in the trenches daily in his ER practice. And being an ER doctor, I can't imagine any doctor that has more stress, like never knowing what is going to walk through that door at any moment. So he's been just so insightful, sharing about which practices work and how. And not only is he using them for himself, but he shares these tools with his patients who might be anxious because they're in the emergency room. And I just think that's so beautiful, because that's where these ripple effects happen, from physicians to patients. And then the patients talk about it with their families, and so on and so on. And that's the difference we want to make. We want to provide this service to physicians and all of their entire team, and then let those ripple effects take place.
So my question is, this sounds amazing, and I'm sure healthcare professionals definitely need that. But do you find that there is a problem within the medical system why this is even an issue? And Dr. Mantell, Sandy, either one of you can address that question.
Well, yeah, I'll just jump in on this. One of the things you bump into when you start talking about helping physicians deal with the system is that physicians don't want to admit that they need help. It seems there's a stigma. It's a sign of weakness. And they also don't like the idea that they're sort of having a finger pointed at them. You have to change. No, the system in which the medical system today, in so many ways, is broken and is fragmenting. The American Medical Association tells us that never in the history that they've ever been looking at this have they seen such a tremendous number of physicians saying they're going to be leaving the profession at a time when there's already a shortage. And so many, almost 70%, 65, 70% are saying they're burning out. So what happens to patient care when all this is going on? It crumbles. So we have long hours, stressful working conditions. We have increased administrative burdens with electronic health records, with profit over patients. We have decreased patient satisfaction. We have difficulty balancing work and home life. And yet we're asking doctors to smile and put patients first. The patient experience comes first. Try saying that to a doctor today and look at the expression you get. The system is fragmenting. It's asking physicians to do way too much. The number one specialty, Sandy just pointed at this, that is broken and is stressed, burning out, are emergency room doctors. It doesn't stop.
Mm.
And not only, let me just point something else out. A study done just this week found that hospitals are now overcrowded. You know with who? With youngsters who are hurting themselves because of the depression and anxiety they feel when they deal with all this stuff going on in their world. So the press is not, the media, the press on the physicians' lives is just overwhelming. And there's so much that can be done from the top down, the bottom up, to help physicians and the systems in which they work. There's been study after study on wellness programs in the workplace. They look good. They feel good. The only trouble is they're not doing a whole lot of good because it's just a lot of like patting doctors on the head and go do yoga. The doctor can't breathe. One physician told me earlier this week, I forgot to tie my shoes. Mm. And so the system is in difficulty, Michelle. And you know, in your family, you have physicians and you know that stories they share with you. And we hear these stories all the time. And so we just want to make a difference. Just real quickly, yesterday I was working with a physician group, and they wanted to talk about why the phones aren't being answered and how patients aren't being cared for and da. And I did a presentation for them on putting the patient first. What does that mean? Not that you don't care about you, the physician, but to put that patient first, you got to have the mask on yourself, like they say in flying. If you're flying with a youngster, put the mask on yourself first to take care of that child. And that's what the three of us, Vu, Sandy, and I are doing right now.
You know what? And this is a question for Sandy, and either one of you actually can answer it, is that when the pandemic first came, there was a report of just a higher suicide rate among healthcare professionals, especially in the emergency room. And I remember this story where this nurse, I remember very distinctly, where the father of this nurse, his daughter committed suicide because she couldn't take all the death and the passing away. I mean, yes, your hospitals, your physicians are used to people passing away, but just at the height of the pandemic, it was just so much more. So my question to you is, Sandy, have you seen since the height of the pandemic that this issue regarding healthcare professional burnout has risen tremendously?
And Michael is better to answer that question because he is in it. He's the one that shares all these studies with me and was really the one to alert me to this alarming situation, which is why I wanted to continue to do work in this space. And even though pandemic is over, yes, there are still suicide is an overall issue within the physician community, but also with young people as well. And so I feel like we never really paused when things lifted and we were less worried about pandemic and catching COVID-19 because we felt protected. We never really dealt with the trauma of the past several years. We just kind of went back into everything. And so they say that mental health is the second wave of COVID. And I think Michael and Vu and I are seeing that. clearly within this medical caregiving industry. And so it is our goal to help in some small way in this system where the culture is working against the physicians. And Michael, if you want to talk more specifically about that topic.
Yeah, there's been many studies recently. I hate to keep bringing up studies, but there's been a study recently about the number of suicides amongst physicians, and it's skyrocketing. In order for someone to take a gun or a knife, they first have to think, I can't stand it anymore. I can't bear this anymore. This is intolerable. That low frustration tolerance, LFT, low frustration tolerance, is what leads someone to lash out at them. So I can't take this anymore. So what is it that physicians can't take? The administrative burdens, the time demands, being treated as a pawn in the larger industry, the medical industry. When the heck did it become an industry? It's a healing profession. It's an art. It's not a business. Unfortunately, it is a business. And when physicians have lost that independence, the ability to make their own decisions is a moral injury, it's called. And physicians experience that. And so while all this press is coming on them, what we're saying is, hey, let's think about this a bit. You don't like it. It's hard. But you can tolerate it. Suicide is not an answer. And this is where we say, hey, take a breath. And we have an expert who can expound on that in so many ways. It isn't just, hey, slow down, take a breath. Come on, breathe. You'll be okay. There's a science behind it. And we're very blessed to have one of the foremost thinkers in this field as one of the legs of our tripod.
Thank you so much, Michael. And I feel like the one great thing about, again, Lifespace Group is that my tools empower people, the physicians, the teams that they work with in the moment. So, Michael provides just such therapeutic and amazing, wise counsel, and breath helps them in between those sessions where they're in surgery with their team. And maybe what would it be like if before they begin surgery, they all set their intention together? They elevate the collective energy of the team by just taking 3 deep breaths. It adds no time, but it gets everyone calm and alert and on the same page. And adding these breath tools, which, as Michael noted, are science-based, it is neuroscience, they always deliver. Adding these in small moments can make such a difference in this culture where it's always just high pressure, high stress every minute. And that's what a lot of the people in the medical industry, what I'm seeing is that they thrive on that because that's all they've known. I was surprised speaking at the first medical conference that I did that these are doctors who know about their nervous system. They know about the importance of health and well-being, yet they're just not doing enough for themselves. And so these are the tools that we can share, trying to shift perspective on the way that they think, on the way that they breathe, which means the way that they feel, and then sharing the empathy and compassion from Vu's perspective. Like, if he can do it, everybody can do it. And he is so optimistic about the changes that we can make in his colleagues' lives. So
I think Dr. Cooley.
I am here.
There you are, Michelle.
Here.
Help him out. We've overwhelmed him.
Oh, that's okay. Well, thank you. We're going to have to take a break because, of course, we got to pay the bills. So we definitely, audience, if you have any questions or comments regarding this topic, please just write them in and just type, and we'll ask these amazing guests these questions. The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life with Dr. James Cooley, and our guest today, Dr. Michael Mantell and Sandy Abrams. We'll be right back.
be able to do it. I'm gonna try.
Really get a chance to know who you are. And once you know who you are, you truly know who you are, love who you are. Love who you are. You're a masterpiece. Love who you are. Love who you were born to be. Love me some me. That's what I'm talking about. When you leave high school, you gotta know today or tomorrow, hopefully today, what your plans are. Hopefully, there is no bad decision unless there is no plan. Create, collaborate, commit with confidence. Commit with what? Commit with what? In everything that you do.
Welcome back to the James Cooley Show. It's your life. We got these absolutely two magnificent guests that really are enlightening us on a lot of things. And Sandy, talk about sometimes you have to take a breath. You have to think about these things. You have to sit back and relax. Dr. Mantell is always putting it out there that we need to, sit back and think about ourselves a lot. We need to think about us as not me myself, but medical doctors that in order for you to take care of everybody else mentally, emotionally, physically, you have to be taking care of yourself. And there's certain things that we have to do in order to do that. So this has been an absolutely fantastic show. If you want to be part of this conversation, all you do is just go to whichever platform you're watching this on, ask these magnificent guests any questions that you like. And I promise you, we'll get you an answer. I'm going to turn it back over to you, Dr. Cooley.
Thank you, Dr. Cooley. Sandy, this question's for you. And Dr. Mantell, please chime in. We're all busy, and if anyone's ever been in a hospital, they know how busy it is, especially in an emergency room. And sometimes you're going from point A to point B to point Z. You're always on the go. Sandy, how do you, instruct healthcare professionals to do those exercises with their breath if they're always on the go? Even when they're not on the go, mentally, they're exhausted at that time. So how does that all come together?
That's a great question, Michelle. I'm glad you asked, because breath can be done on the go. And that's why it's so easily integrated. And the more that these physicians and caregiving teams practice these small moments of mindful breath, then they're able to sort of turn on a dime faster. For example, you said they're walking from point A to point B. What if they're walking from having their lunch to walking down the hall to get ready and prep for surgery? Well, that's a great time for them to just take a quick scan of their mind and body. How are they feeling? Do they need to calm their nervous system? Do they need to balance it, or maybe a little boost? And so then they breathe strategically in the ways that will make them feel the best for what they need in that moment. There are certain breath tools that they could do that will help them focus as well. There are certain, if they are doing certain breath tools, it will help to boost their mindset or calm. And so that's the beauty of breath tools, is that they can just simply take slower, deeper breaths if they want to feel more relaxed. They can do box breathing, for example, which is known for, like, SWAT teams are doing that. It's a breath that helps you to focus and balance the nervous system. What about when they're scrubbing up to get into surgery and they're spending a good 5 minutes washing their hands and all of that? That's a beautiful time to have a mantra that Michael can, is great at advising people. This is how you want to think positively about the outcome. And then I'll instruct people, this is how you breathe. And together we give the tools that empower people they don't need to stop and listen to an app for a guided breathwork session. They don't need to be in a therapy session. They are armed with these tools that they can use on their own in those small moments when they are actually in, as Dr. Tran Vu was telling us the other day, that, you know, when he was in a moment with a patient in the ER and she was very anxious about getting, I think, anesthesia that she needed. And he walked her through a breathwork tool. And you know what? It's win-win, because then Dr. Tran was also felt more calm about the situation and the patient felt better. So again, those tools, breath work is done in small moments. When you realize that you feel the physical manifestations of stress, maybe your heart is beginning to race, or your jaw is clenched, or your stomach is upset. We all know those physical manifestations in our own body, and becoming self-aware of them is really important, so that when you change your breath, then you can release the stress and tension. You can make better decisions. You can be more focused and be present in that moment. What would be worse for a patient if a doctor is just off thinking about something else while he is working on you or a loved one at that moment? So that's what we want to try to integrate these tools, so that doctors are always self-aware of what they're thinking, feeling, how their nervous system is, and that they can use breath as they are on the go or in the moment.
Thank you. Dr. Mantell, I read that out of the top 10 professions, physicians are number one of who commit suicide, physicians. And so the question is, why don't physicians, healthcare professionals, get the help or mental health that they need? And an article I was reading was saying they're concerned about the stigma,
Right.
if word got out that they needed help. And even though those sessions, the going to see a healthcare professional, for a mental health care professional, is supposed to be private, sometimes things like that do get out. And I know you mentioned that before, that, they're afraid of how it's going to look to other doctors. So can you expand on that, and why that's really an issue and a stigma that healthcare professionals do not need?
Absolutely. Another great question. And I just want to comment on the remarkable answer that Sandy gave you earlier in terms of the importance of the body as part of all of this, the breath, which is the centerpiece of our existence. It's our life. So numbers of years ago, the number one profession that had the highest rate of suicide were dentists. Physicians have passed that now by far. And it's not just stigma, but the licensing laws for many states, maybe all of them, I'm not sure, but probably for most states, if not all, ask, have you had any services by a mental health professional? And if you answer yes, you have, that puts a blot on your record and may affect your ability to be relicensed. So physicians are very careful about that. Until that changes, this is going to be an obstacle. And that we have to pay attention to that. Secondly, I think that we are talking about a profession that has the expectation of perfection, which is completely unrealistic. There's no such thing as mistake proof. We'd like to think it, especially if we're the patient on the table, that the doctor won't make a mistake. But the pressure on that physician is never, ever to ever have an error. And so that burden, that additional burden, coupled with everything. I have a physician who didn't he just texted, he didn't go to sleep until 3:30 this morning because of the electronic health records and all the other things he had to do and take care of for the group practice he's in. You can't go to sleep at 3:30 in the morning, wake up and being ready to go at 7:30 in the morning in the surgery suite, or your whatever your specialty is. So I think that you have internal pressures together with a system that doesn't allow doctors to ask for help, although that's changing. And that's where the Lifespace group comes in, because we're not a therapy group. We're not here to treat mental illness, because we don't believe these physicians have mental illness necessarily. What we believe is that psychological education in the form of a virtual 15-minute or half-hour discussion they can watch or listen to, having an opportunity to learn how to think differently in the privacy of their own lives, something that a husband and wife can do together. That's where the Lifespace group can be particularly of value. It's not that we're hiding it, but we're recognizing the reality of the world as it is, and we're saying we want to help, and we're going to find a way to get through to do that very thing.
Wow. Great advice. We're going to take a station break, but we're going to come back. We're going to pick it up. And Sandy, when we get back, I got a question for you. But I tell you what, our viewer and audience, our listeners out there, if you got a question for either one of these two great folks, all you have to do is go to the comments, ask any question you like. We'll get you an answer. It's Your Life. I'm Dr. James J.C. Cooley. We'll be back shortly after the break.
You fight against. And if you want my opinion, I let it take me away. Only relief is the four on the floor and the crowd that goes, oh, turn it up, turn it up, turn it up, turn it up, oh, turn it up, turn it up, turn it up.
Hello, welcome back to the James Cooley Show. It's Your Life. And, tell you, just listening to these two great guests and my beautiful wife, Michelle. I mean, sometimes it's like, well, what Sandy's talking about and what Dr. Mantell's talking about, you have to take time, you have to breathe. And that's what we're going to do in a couple of days. We are going to take time out. We're going to breathe. We're going on our anniversary. We're going to Puerto Viagra and taking our time, breathing, not working that much. I said not that much, but it's all about being able to take care of yourself. And that's what Michelle and I need, that just like each and every last one of you. Sometimes we need to sit back and just relax and listen to what these two guests are talking about. Sandy, I got a question for you. Now, what are some advice or some of the ways that people can sit back, relax, just take it all in so that they are able to, come up with the right thoughts and put themselves in the right mindset being able to excel and achieve whatever goals or desires that they want. Can you talk to our viewers a little bit about that?
Sure. I mean, there are a couple, general rules of thumb around breath practice, and it really is a daily practice. It's not something I've been doing it for over 30 years. It's not something that you master. Your nervous system isn't always going to be calm. So, and especially today, and with all the distractions and the connection to our devices and the pop-up notifications all day long and social media and other extraneous distractions, there are a couple ways that everyone should know about breathing. That is, first of all, when you exhale, that's relaxing. The vagus nerve is activated, the parasympathetic nervous system. It's like breath is the language of the nervous system. And on the exhales, the nervous system can move from fight or flight to rest and digest, simply by lengthening your inhales and exhales to a count of about 5 or 6 seconds each. And then when you extend your exhales, when your exhales are about twice as long as your inhales, that is signaling your nervous system to relax and calm. So those are two simple tools. Number one is that breathing where you're inhaling and exhaling to a count of about 5 or 6 seconds versus just the autopilot default shallow rapid chest breath. That actually causes low-grade chronic stress. And if we're never moving out of that fight or flight sympathetic part of our nervous system, if we're never balancing it with parasympathetic rest and digest, then we are causing the inflammation in our body, the anxiety in our body, the brain fog, the exhaustion because we can't sleep. So, and one other thing is to really be mindful that most of the time you're breathing through your nose versus your mouth. When you inhale through your nose, you connect to the part of your brain that regulates emotion. So it is easier to take Michael's advice, and your thought process. It's easier to change that when you're inhaling through your nose, calming your nervous system, and then thinking good thoughts, thinking empowering thoughts. And so there's so many easy things to do. It also heats and treats and filters the air that goes directly into your lungs. Also, when you breathe in through your nose, you're activating nitric oxide, which helps to dilate the blood vessels and optimize the respiratory system and the exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide. And when you optimize your respiratory system, you're also optimizing so many other vital systems in your body. You can do a little breath practice before you go to sleep so that you sleep well. We all know that sleep is a key pillar to well-being. As Michael mentioned, his clients up until 3 a.m. Like, that's not okay. Now he has to go face clients, drained and exhausted. So by using breath to help make the most of moments, then your body begins to crave more mindful and strategic breath. And then you start to repair your health. You can't be in a state of chronic stress and build health at the same time. So people need to know how to learn how to manage stress, regulate the nervous system to feel better overall.
Wow. That's absolutely fantastic. You're absolutely right. We have to be able to manage that. Dr. Mantell, just to add on to that, what Sandy just said, but positive psychology coaching, mindfulness, body breathing practice, community building, Wealthcare are some of the tools and benefits that we get from this. Can you talk to our viewers a little bit about some of the other things that they might expect from a beneficial standpoint if they follow these directions? And we probably got a better part of 3 minutes to go in the show. So,
Well, I just want to thank Sandy for being a part of this. I know she had to jump off. Oh, there she is. Okay, Sandy, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you all. I always enjoy the conversation with all three of you. Thank you so much for having us. And Michael will wrap it up on my behalf. So thank you very much on behalf of Dr. Tran and our Lifespace group. Thank you.
Health above
Hey,
all.
Sandy, we're
dear.
gonna get you back on real soon. So
Love to.
don't.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So yeah, I was going to say that I think that whenever we look at ourselves in a caring way, in a compassionate way, we are not selfish. We are flourishing. Selfishness is not, oh, I'm taking care of myself. No, you're not saying I'm taking care of myself to the exclusion of anybody. I'm taking care of myself for a higher purpose. The higher purpose is to flourish so I can take care of patients. I can take care of other people. And, Dr. Tran, who couldn't be here with us, unfortunately, today because of something else that popped in, he talks about wealth care. Physicians today, everyone thinks, oh, you're a physician, you must have a lot of money. That's not the case. And so his expertise is in helping physicians understand the role that finance plays in their life. All of this rests on a healthy mindset. To do the breathing Sandy just spoke about, to do things like jumping into cold water, going to the gym, sitting down with your spouse and having a heart-to-heart talk, going on a vacation to Puerto Vallarta, requires the mindset that says, I'm worth it. This is important. There's a higher purpose for this. This is valuable and I can do it. And when you have all that, then you're going to pay attention to the things that the Lifespace group is bringing to physicians and healthcare professionals throughout the spectrum.
Wow, Dr. Mantell, you and Sandy and Dr. Vu always bring just such a highlighted point, vision, understanding, focus, and all the knowledge that goes with that. But you're absolutely right. We have to be mindsetful that we can take all of these things in, understand that it's not all about us, but it's also the physicians because they are experiencing some of the same problems or even more than we do, trying to make sure that they take care of us.
And
I'd like to thank you.
Let's just remember, today is National Doctor Day. So let's sure we thank a doctor today. Thanks for having me on, Dr. Cooley and Dr. Michelle Denise Cooley. Thanks for having us on.
I think we always got to thank a doc. Every day is National Doctor Day, in my opinion. And thank you so much for coming on the show again. You know that you're regular. We're going to get you back on again real soon because we know you're back from vacation.
Yeah,
also, I'd like to thank Dr. Michelle Cooley for putting together another absolutely fantastic show. I also want to thank, most importantly, our listeners and viewers for tuning into the James Cooley Show. It's Your Life. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place. See you there. It's Your Life. I'm Dr. James J.